Hey, so this one might be a little bit off topic. Maybe it's not. No, it definitely qualifies, is how I've defined this podcast as my journal. So I want to talk about why, in my humble opinion, and after years of bad experiences, why I think launching should be a marketing event and not an engineering event. Like, of course, a launch is a marketing event. Everyone gets that. But I think the thing here that's most important is that launching should not be an engineering event. So I think engineering teams are notoriously bad for no fault of their own. But I'll just say, not engineering teams. Engineering projects are notoriously difficult to predict in terms of when something's going to be done. And often I've seen startups, and I have done this more times than I can count, unfortunately. But often I've seen companies do things like plan a launch for a given day, and maybe the engineering team is 25% done or 50% done, or at least they think they are. And everyone will come up with some date that's perhaps a little bit of a stretch, but mostly doable, right? In terms of when they're going to launch something to the market. And a marketing leader will sit down with an engineering leader, and the engineering leader is trying to do a good job. Maybe they just got hired. Maybe they've been there for a while, and they want to come off as a team player, and they're like, okay, we're going to launch this thing on this date. And they proceed to coordinate around that, right? So heading into kind of the time when the thing is about to launch, marketing and engineering gets together and like, all right, we need to create marketing collateral around this launch. We need screenshots. Well, the screenshots are, engineering will come back with like, maybe the screenshots are mostly done. And, but we have some mock-ups, so we can create a demo based on this beta version that's on a developer's computer, or I don't know, a mock-up of the UI in something like Envision or whatever they're using. And they'll invest a whole bunch of time in creating a video or marketing collateral around this launch that's scheduled for this date, but the thing isn't quite ready, but you need to create the collateral ahead of time. And there's all this coordination costs that's incurred, right? Like weekly meetings. All right, is engineering on track? Is marketing on track? Let's coordinate, and that eats up a bunch of time. All right, what features are we going to say exist in this when it launches? Here are the features. Then next thing you know, a week before launch or 2 weeks before launch, it turns out that some of those features aren't there. Okay, we have to remove them from the video, or we have to remove them from the copy. Or we need to rename this feature because it doesn't do exactly what we thought, and it's going to be out later, or some aspect of the new thing is in beta, but another aspect isn't. That needs to be added to the graphic. Or there's just all this coordination stuff. And if you've ever been involved in this, I'm sure you can attest to the fact that like it just slows down engineering teams because they have to spend so much time coordinating and educating and providing status updates to marketing around the launch. And if they just use that time, focused on building the thing, it probably would get done a lot faster. So at Nomics, for the most part, we try not to use the word launch, right? So I like to say that engineering isn't launching anything in 2019. And what I mean by that is that, basically we're just going to release new things. And when they're live and when they've been live enough that we know there aren't problems with it, then we're going to tell people about it, right? Like we're going to officially launch it, but we're not going to do this kind of coordinated thing where all of a sudden one day someone's going to like flip a switch and then the thing is live. And then at the, 30 minutes later, press releases and blog posts and social media campaigns and whatever gets executed around that. It's just going to go live when it goes live. So our policy here is that we don't even start planning the marketing launch of something until a feature is live in production. We don't even start planning it until it's live and everything seems okay. And that way we get to avoid all coordination costs. I screwed up on this once on accident, and it probably resulted in like the only, I wouldn't even call it fight, like Nick and I don't really fight, but like the only real heated words we had, and it was totally my fault. Sorry, Nick, if you're listening to this. But yeah, so I think the idea here is that anything with the word launch on it, engineering should not be involved in any way. Like engineering should never launch anything. There should be no hallowed button that is pressed to launch something. So the website, our website, nomics.com, has a beta mode. So if you do some Easter egg-ish sequence of things on the website, you can see the beta mode of the product, and that surfaces different features and things that are fully in production. They're just not visible. Like you can't find the link to them unless you're in beta mode. So often things will just get built in beta mode. So people are actually developing against the live production version of the website. So we catch any kind of conflicts or whatever that might exist. And then at some point we just change the visibility setting on the new thing and it's live. And that's around that time is when I start talking with my marketing team about who we're going to say to what or to whom and what the messaging is going to be. But that's really when things get going. I think it's the right way to go. It's saved me so much headache. I think coordination costs in startups are just incredibly expensive, especially coordination costs around future events where like one important thing is dependent upon another important thing, and just sort of estimating and re-estimating when different pieces of those when different pieces of the project are going to be ready, especially when there's a contingency. That just eats up so much time. It's such a pain in the arse. Can I say that and still get not flagged as explicit on iTunes? I don't know. Anyway, so that in summary is why engineering isn't going to launch anything at Nomics in 2019. Take care.